the I don't know what we want as fans and things of this nature. But when you start looking at money and the way things go, so there's so much talk about what Jerry Jones should do with the quarterback, with the running back, with the whoever, someone in the scouting department, you name it, it's all happening. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Thank you, John O. We appreciate you. Um, JT reminded me to give you an update on what John O did today for us. I got to tell you that. But anyway, it's it's tough business being in the National Football League. It's tough business being in big time college football as well. And so I'm going to be asking these guys, our co-hosts, about some of this stuff and how they feel about certain things. So I want to go ahead and bring them in now. Of course, you guys, you know JT, James Teague is my son, who is a co-host, always there, man behind the scenes doing what he's doing. Oh my gosh, and look who we got here. We got Glenn Smith. The reason why I said, oh my gosh, is because I don't know. I've seen him with them glasses on. That's why he took them off real quick right here. Other people in the podcast said, huh?
Hey, George, ain't nobody out running Father Time, brother. I'm sorry. I got to put them cheaters on to give you a real name and give you something that doesn't look like I scratched the stick figure down there on the piece of paper. So I apologize. Didn't mean to scare you.
No, it's okay. Well, so let me tell you about Glenn and give him the right introduction. Glenn, I've known Glenn for a long time. I guess it's been close to 30 years or so, 25, 26, 27 years ago. I don't know how long it was. But he was on with the Cowboys when I was there. He's kind of worked his way up through the ranks, came and did some GA work, and then came to the Dallas Cowboys and started working with the tight ends. And we just built a relationship, and he's done other great things. He's been an analyst on the radio and on television, still doing a lot of stuff like that. Has been a high school coach, been a middle school coach, done a little bit of everything. Man, he's a jack of all trades. He's last year he did some coaching with the USFL as well in Birmingham. So he got his taste of a little bit of Alabama life and trying to figure out what that was all about. And man, he called me and told me how country those people are. But then I had to remind him how country he was. But you guys will hear that too. So we're welcome.
It was only love, George, and you're right. You had to school me up a little bit and coach me up on where to go in Birmingham and how to handle my business. So I certainly we're going to. They're moving us to Detroit this year, and you can't see it, but I got a black armband on. I'm already missing Birmingham, so that's just how it's going to be right now.
Detroit. Oh man, well, have fun with that. It's going to be a little bit chilly up there whenever y'all got to go because it ain't going to warm up till probably the end of the season. But anyway, all right. So I want to dive in this because we only got about 30 minutes with Glenn, unless he hangs out with a little bit. So I want to get to both of you guys, JT and Glenn. I'm going to ask Glenn first. There's so much talk about the coaching staff and Dak Prescott. And whose fault is it that we lost the game, the Cowboys game, on Sunday? So should there be any replacements? Let's just say hypothetically that Kellen Moore wasn't getting job offers and Dan Quinn wasn't getting job offers. Do you think that Jerry Jones should be releasing either the head coach, the offensive coordinator, or the defensive coordinator? Glenn, you go first.
Yeah, George, I think that's a very tough question. I think you started this segment off saying this correctly. Football is a business. It is about winning. It is about money. And it's about the bottom line with all of that. You experienced it in Green Bay. You experienced it with Dallas. I remember many times sitting in free agent meetings and Larry Lacewell saying, there ain't one player, and by the way, a bunch of players live in Dallas, but ain't nobody giving a hometown discount. That's the bottom line. Everybody understands that it's a business. And so when you ask me about the head coach, when you ask me about the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, I think you have to dive into this with both hands and both feet, George, and you have to say, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, when you look at this football team right now, when you see where this football team is, and you say, okay, this is a team that won 12 games in the regular season. They won 4 games with a backup quarterback.
Yep.
They led the league, I believe, in turnovers.
Yep.
They absolutely have a window right here because of the age of your best football players. What is the best thing to do for this organization? And I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to ask you, if we are talking about a business, I'm talking to George Teague, who watches the Cowboys every week. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, George, who do you think is the most productive unit on the Dallas Cowboys?
I see where you're going here. He's trying to set me up here. I like how
it's an easy question. What do you mean he's trying to set you up? There's one obvious answer.
Yeah. Yeah. So the people in the crowd said the kicker. Right? Yeah, good one. No, our defensive unit is absolutely amazing. But how can you discount 32.33 points a game or whatever? That's pretty phenomenal, right?
Right, and I'm not discounting that, George. What I'm saying is we brought Dan Quinn in here, and he completely changed the identity of the Dallas Cowboys defense back to what we think the Dallas Cowboy defense should be. They drafted right. They've taken free agents, whether it was Curse, whether it was Fowler, whether it all Barr. They brought the right pieces in. And so when you think of production, business, and you think you could possibly lose the defensive coordinator, it forces your hand a little bit. That's going to force your hand to say, okay, if I don't promote him, he's going to get a job in the National Football League. Now, how do I continue to grow my defense and try to get some help for a quarterback who we're going to have? He's going to be here. And he is at best an average quarterback. He is not accurate with the football. He does not put the ball in tight windows outside the numbers. There's a lot of things we can get to there. To answer your question, I think that Jerry's hand is going to be forced a little bit here. I believe that's why he didn't get on the radio yesterday. I believe that's why Stephen didn't get on the radio yesterday, is because I believe that they're probably over there in a duck blind in Stuttgart, Arkansas, trying to figure out what is the best move for the Dallas Cowboys and the best way to keep structure with the most productive unit. And I believe that if you're asking me tonight when we're taping this at 8:20 on a Wednesday evening, I believe that, Jerry's going to be forced to make a move here, and he's going to be forced to make a move to the defensive coordinator being the head coach.
Ooh, now that's a hot take right there. So,
whoa.
All right. So
I like it, but whoa.
Total flip and not try to find an offensive guy. Now, JT did I wouldn't say stats on every time you switch head coaches, it kind of switches on different side of the ball.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, I think we kind of just had that conversation standing in your kitchen one day or something. I was saying that if you look across, the NFL and college, when you fire a head coach, they bring in the total opposite. So I was talking about with like the Bears, how they had Lovie Smith, who was supposed to be a defensive guy, and then they fire Lovie, and they're like, all right, who is the most offensive guy we can find? Did the same thing in Minnesota with Zimmer. They went from a defensive guy to an offensive guy. They did it in Denver. Had a defensive-minded coach, get rid of him, bring in an offensive guy. So I was kind of just saying that is seemingly the trend of like, and sometimes I guess nowadays if you do both, you've done the defensive route and you did the offensive route and none of them worked out, you go get some dude from special teams and tell him to run your team for a little bit, I guess. But I want to throw this little nugget in. I haven't done the deep dive on the statistics, but you had made the comment that we're just going to throw out the 34 points a game or whatever it is that the offense was scoring. And I was going to say yes, because one of those games was ballooned by a 54-point drubbing of the Colts, which we were at that game. You cannot convince me that offense was very good. It was the defense that had caused 5 turnovers, giving you 30 yards to go. They also scored. The defense also scored, I think, twice. And the Colts were just begging to get they kept, with like 3 minutes left in the game, the Colts are still throwing interceptions out here instead of just taking the ball and going home.
Yep.
But my point being that there are many games in here. I think there are actually, if I'm counting right, there are only 2 games in here in which the Cowboys defense did not cause a turnover.
Yeah, there weren't very many.
Those games, the offense scored 20 points and 17 points, basically unassisted. You've got 2 games in here where they forced 5 turnovers. One of them led to 54 points. The other one led to inexplicably 24 points. Like, if you get 5 extra possessions, you still only have 24 points. That's kind of mind-boggling to me. That I've said that to our offensive coordinator at John Paul too. Of like, dude, we had 6 turnovers in a game and we still only put up 6 points. Like that. That's not okay.
So what are you saying though?
I'm saying that our offensive.
Who's supposed to get fired or not fired, or what are we supposed to do?
I'm saying 2 things. I'm saying that our offense points per game is heavily buoyed by how good the defense is and how many extra chances they get by turnovers. And I am also saying that I think it might just be time to move on from the Scott Linehan, Jason Garrett offensive tree. And that means that I'm not going to go so far to say that Kellen Moore should be fired, or that he doesn't deserve a job or anything like that. But I do think that it is time for a change of scenery. It's time for new leadership and maybe a new style of offense.
And when he says that, I'm going to double down and say, George, you've been accustomed to this. They kept the Ernie Zampese route numbering, protection, naming scheme in place for a quarterback that they gave $40 million to.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep that in place. They wanted to not force him to have to learn another verbiage. Mike McCarthy is a West Coast guy, which, as you know, is opposite. That's numbering protections and naming route concepts. You look at Mike McCarthy right now, I can tell you, I don't even know why he has a call sheet over there. I'm not real sure he understands what double right, scat right, 839, F flat. I don't know. I don't know that, but I can tell you that he's not accustomed to that verbiage. So I'll go back to what Junior was saying, and maybe it is time to say, you're going to have this quarterback. There's nothing you can do about trading him. There's nothing you can do. And so is it time for us to bring in Brian Schottenheimer? Is it time for us to bring in who's already on the staff? Is it time for us to bring in another coordinator to challenge this quarterback and try to get him re-synergized where he's not throwing 17 interceptions. I mean, think about that. That guy played 4 less games than Derek Carr, and they sent Derek Carr's ass home. They said, "Go mow the house the last 2 games."
Yeah.
The hell with it. I mean, think about that. I mean, let that marinate with you. And so, I just think that you've got to figure out a way to shake up this thing, but you've got pieces that you can't do anything with. And then I'm gonna come back in George, and I'm gonna ask you this: when you think about the free agent list of what's out there, you know that Dak's comfort has really been Dalton Schultz. He's a free agent. They franchised him. He's probably going to be out of here.
They're not going to
Noah Brown. I mean, you got Pollard, you got McGovern, you got Terrence Steele at right tackle. That's the offensive guys on the priority list. We're not talking about Peters or some of the other ones. And then you go on the defensive side, you got Anthony Brown, who's a free agent, Dante Fowler, Van Der Esch, who really played his ass off as a Mike linebacker this year, came into his own, and then Donovan Wilson, who I think is a heck of a safety. And we're not talking about other guys on the defensive side of the ball that are free agents. So I'm telling you all that to say that I believe that this Cowboy team is going to have a shakeup, and they're going to have to reshuffle the deck, knowing that Dak Prescott he's going to be the quarterback. Now,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, Dak is the quarterback, and he's not Patrick Mahomes, and that's okay.
That's right. Well, maybe not. I don't know about that, but all right. He's a 4th round quarterback. But here, let me may say this, and I do agree with a lot of the points that you guys are saying. And so what I was thinking about is, to answer the question on what I think, I think that there are, similar to what Glenn had said, Stretch said, I think there's 2 Chiefs on offense, and one of them need to go. And I'm thinking that it actually needs to be Kellen Moore, because I feel like there might be some confusion with the coaches, and how you need to actually handle Dak. You said that he said that Glenn talked about, hey, McCarthy has that, his sideline sheet and all that, but he don't know what it is. Why not let him go ahead and do his thing? If he's that offensive guru, he's kind of got it, his shoes tied with Kellen Moore there, because Jerry Jones wants to keep him, or whoever, because he's going to be the heir apparent, I guess, or whatever. So I think it looks a whole lot better if he has a job and gets another job, and McCarthy can either bring in his own person or start calling his own plays again. That's what I think.
And what are you going to do with the most productive side of the ball? Because Dan Quinn's going to go get a job. You're going to say, I can bring in a coordinator who can rally these guys just as good as Dan Quinn?
No. So, and by the way, this has been, I've been seeing the reports here in the last hour, I guess, of George Edwards not returning, and also Skip Pete not returning. So I'm assuming that's factual because of some of the people that have been saying. I haven't talked to either one of them about it, but I think that kind of shakes up things, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. If you don't have George there, if Dan leaves, he's probably going to take Joe Witt, right? I would imagine. I don't know who.
Leon is on the last year of his deal.
Who is?
Leon Lett.
Oh, well, Jerry's going to try to do everything to keep him, though, right? I don't know if he can be your coordinator, though.
No, I'm talking about you're saying positionally. I'm saying position. Guys that were on the last year of their deal, and you make the point that Dak is a 4th round quarterback. I'm going to tell you he got outplayed by a 7th round quarterback.
Mr. Irrelevant, to be even more Last pick of the
year he
draft.
won 8. Yeah, last year he won 8 games at Iowa State, and he outplayed your $40 million quarterback. That's a fact. And I know what you're saying, George. I'm going to say that I agree with you. I think maybe the West Coast system, but I also believe that we're overlooking the fact that this team lost Amari Cooper, who was their best route runner.
Lost is generous. They traded him for a bag of chips and a cheeseburger.
Okay, and so the point I'm making is somebody in the building, and you know this, George, as well as I do, convinced Mr. Jones will be okay losing Amari Cooper. We have enough here in what we've got. Now, whether Gallup didn't get, whether he was 90%, 80%, whatever the case may be, he didn't play the way he should play. They lost Cedric Wilson to free agency. They lost, again, Amari, and they thought that CeeDee Lamb and a combination of,
Schultz.
Brown, maybe someone else, some of those lower tiered guys. Then they had to go get T.Y. Hilton.
So are you equally as disappointed with Dak and 13 Gallup?
Are y'all finally coming around to what I've been saying about Gallup for years now? I'm the only one on this show that's been.
Yeah, George, what I'm going to say to you is, when you tear your knee up, it takes a little time. They can say he's 100% physically. But I'm telling you, I don't believe mentally he's got the confidence to really put that foot in the ground and go make a move. I think when you watch him run, he still runs gingerly. I think he's a good receiver. Do I think he's as good as Amari? Hell no. And here's what I'm saying in summation here. The quarterback cannot put the ball in tight windows. We're going to have the quarterback. Here's what we got to do. We got to get better route runners and guys that can open bigger windows for a quarterback who is at times inaccurate and inconsistent. That's what you're going to have to do.
All right. So I want to lay out my points, and I want to see if Stretch agrees with me, because these are, I feel like you're saying the same things that I've been saying on this show for weeks. One is, I don't believe that Dak can really throw deep balls outside of the numbers. He can throw deep balls, but it's got to be basically in between the hashes. If it ain't a seam, he can't throw it deep. Two, now you might not agree with this one exactly, because I'm gonna be a little mean, but I don't really think that the knee has much to do with Michael Gallup. I mean, it probably does, but I've been calling him Walmart Des Bryant for 2 years now. I think that I think he's a good receiver, but I also think that he is very much replaceable. I think receivers kind of grow on trees these days. Like, everybody has a Michael Gallup somewhere, even if his name is Allen Robinson. I think that you can get just as much out of those two. And three, like you said, I believe that Dak's the quarterback, and because he's not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, Dak is a quarterback that is not able to carry a team by himself. Dak is a quarterback that needs help. And when they let Amari go, I, even on this show, had said, I think the Cowboys offensively have gotten demonstrably worse on paper. I did not think they got better.
Who is the help, though? And I got it. Does it specifically have to be the people? If you can't throw it and all this kind of stuff, if you bring in A.J. Brown or Devontae Adams or whatever, if you can't throw it to them, is it that, or is it really some type of quarterback guru that can come in and help him, not fix him, because you're not going to change all the way he throws and all that kind of stuff, but design something so that he can be successful with the tools that he has and maybe help him see. I don't know. I
think there's something there to that too. I was going to ask you and Glenn both this. So answer me this. Do you think there is a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a problem, but do you think there's something to the thought that maybe Dak doesn't see Kellen Moore truly as an offensive coordinator, since Kellen Moore was actually his backup. He sees him more as a peer rather than somebody that he can learn from.
Well, I mean, really, it's Newsmeyer, right, that coaches the quarterbacks. I know what you're saying as the play caller. I think you make a good point. I think Dak is a seam ball thrower. He's comfortable throwing the seam ball. That's where that's the dig, the seam, anything inside the numbers is very comfortable throwing that. But when you watch how San Francisco played the Cowboys, they knew that. On the seam throw, the second to the last series, he throws the seam to CD. He predetermined where he was going to go with the football. All he's got to do is look outside. If he looks outside, the corner's inside leverage. T.Y. runs right by the guy. He could have thrown it end over end for a touchdown. He predetermined where he was going to go with the football. And so I'll go back to some of your points are correct. I think he guesses. I don't know how savvy he is at really reading coverages, understanding levels of safeties and leverage of corners. I'd like to say that Wade Wilson taught him a lot of that, God rest his soul, before he left here. But I just believe that he does not throw the ball outside the numbers well, and you're going to have to get guys who can create bigger windows so that he can push that ball outside the numbers, because otherwise the field starts to shrink in, and then you see him throw those inside jerk routes and some of those stick routes that were picked. And then I question when he came to the podium after the game and they run the pivot come back outside, and he said, well, I triple hitched it. Well, what the hell would make you throw that ball? You can never, you can't triple hitch, you can double hitch it.
Don't you double hitch and start running? Isn't that if once I call it the scoot, after you scoot twice, aren't you supposed to start taking off or buying more time? I don't know.
You call it the scoot, I call it the hitch. You go to your church and I'll go to mine. Yeah, you got to take off the damn thing. I agree with you.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Well, things that just stick out to me, is
traveling.
To have a defense as good as we do, and like we said, there's 2 games in which they didn't have any turnovers, not counting the playoff game. I thought we had a chance just because I was like, man, this he's a rookie. He's a 7th round pick. I watched a lot of Brock Purdy in college since he went to Iowa State. He was Mr. Brocktober. He was great in the first half of the season, and then he would fall apart in the second half of the season. And I thought, well, we're just going to make him turn over. We're going to make him turn the ball over. And we didn't. What we saw was our $40 million quarterback throw. I guess maybe I'll give him a pass on one, but the other one was that was a ball that he's thrown an interception on I don't know how many times, or almost thrown an interception on I don't know how many times. And I guess I just need to get off my chest on we got to help him somehow. He was good at Mississippi State because of how much he could run the ball. When he first came on the scene with the Cowboys, it was how much, and I understand why he doesn't run the ball so much with the leg injury and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But that is what alleviates so much of him having to put it on his arm.
Well, you give him $40 million, and I'm going to get the last word on this, and then I want to go to this last play before we have to, because I want to hear what Glenn has to say about this too. But I can say that I think my analysis was right on Brock Purdy. I think that he did exactly what I said he was going to do when I did the CBS show or whatever. He still scrambled to the left. It seemed like we wasn't ready for that all the time. I felt like we should have some type of defense or something that once he goes left, we need to have somebody scraping over there to go get him. And he liked to throw the ball in the middle of the field too. That was the same play that he threw to Kittle. He loves to throw those balls in there. I thought we might have some more awareness in the middle of the field with him.
Well, if Trayvon Diggs hadn't completely shut his eyes, he would have, George. He shut his eyes.
Okay.
No doubt.
Well, that reminds me. So great segue. This is a good way for me to talk about John O real fast, JT. John O's a great person for us. Raises a lot of money for the University of Alabama and scholarships there. You know, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He actually has on a Dallas Cowboy jersey today here at the bar. I am proud of you. It is the. He didn't want me to say that because all his family would probably disown him or something. But it is a Diggs jersey, so he's trying to get away with it by saying it's an Alabama guy. But he does have it on with some blue shoes, and he's rocking it well. So appreciate you, my brother. All right, so let's talk about this play, Glenn, before you dip on us. The last play of the game. I'm looking at your face already.
I mean, to me, what frustrates me more than that is before the last play of the game, how lazy the tight end was.
Oh my God!
Oh no. Okay, so we probably need to explain to everybody about the rule about that. If you're new or not a avid football fan and you're trying to look at differences in some leagues.
You're talking about the third play now, George, where he didn't get out of bounds.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so that's the first down. He doesn't aggressively get out of bounds.
Yeah,
then
he gets knocked backwards and
going forward.
Second down, he catches a sail, and he's only got 1 foot in.
Yeah,
didn't tap.
I'm talking about laziness at its finest. Now you go to the last play. I mean, what you call when you got one play, 80 yards, a quarterback that's got no chance to throw it out there. Did I like the fact that they put Zeke in there at center and just got his ass trucked? No. They put the receivers outside, tried to throw a little ball inside to Turpin, and no chance. I mean, that's really what I would say about that play. It would be like me and you going to claim a horse, and we claimed Mr. Ed, and we thought it was a good idea to run him in the Kentucky Derby. We got no chance.
Okay, so me and JT talked about this play a little bit. I shouldn't say we talked about it. We've seen this at least in high school. There was a team that used to run this formation all the time, and I actually hated it at the time. It's an A11 formation, an offense that they run out in California.
Kind of an A11. They didn't have. So I went back and looked at what the formation was. They didn't have anybody like behind the linemen. So
they didn't have 3 linemen. So it's kind of a hybrid something or another word.
It was weird.
Basically splitting these guys out. So apparently you wanted to. I guess they wanted to have Zeke in there to toss it back to him, have an extra speedy guy or something on a throwback. But anyway. So there's a couple points, and I don't know, and this is what I want you guys to tell me. And that me and JT only went through text with this a little bit. It did not appear that they even had 7 on the line, like you're supposed to have. So just looking at the still picture, if I'm looking at it, I'm throwing a flag for illegal formation anyway. Second piece is the guys that were covered up did actually go downfield.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a penalty, which wasn't thrown anyway, because they were going downfield to block. Zeke gets smashed, and I don't know, it looked like Dak got nervous when the second guy rushed him and just threw it to Turpin, maybe because it was designed that way. I don't know. But there were plenty of guys standing wide open on the outside because all the secondary was just dropped off waiting for the long ball. So to me, it was a big old cluster. And this didn't even look like we practiced on it very much, or guys was like, this ain't gonna work. I don't know what happened.
I'll leave you with this, George, and you've heard it a lot of times. You know, we used to have some guys that we were trying to get out of the Cowboys at the time, and really not good guys, or it was always, they'd say, well, that guy's kind of a turd. I'm going to tell you what that play reminded me of. A drut. You know what a drut is?
No.
That's a backwards turd, George. A drut's a backwards turd. And that's what that play was. D-R-U-T. Just a little thought for the night.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Well, we do appreciate you, man. I know you got things to do and all that kind of stuff, and we really do appreciate your insight. Um, for spending a little bit of time um, with us. So
Hey, man,
we go.
enjoy coming on with you guys, and I hope things are going well. And I'll jump on here with you anytime, my brother. I appreciate you.
Okay. Have a good night, brother.
You too, man. Good night, fellas.
Night.
All right. There he is. Mr. Stretch, the man. Love talking to him because he brings so much good stuff to the table, and it just, I don't know, JT, what did you see on that play? Is there anything that you saw that other than it just looked?
Well, so when I saw it, and then they called the timeout, like in my head at first, I was like, okay, I understand what they're trying to do here. Like we're trying to, it's kind of like when you line up in a swinging gate kind of thing. It's like, hey, if they don't line up right, we got them.
We got them.
But then as I thought about it more, when you sent me the still, I was like, yeah, it's the A11 thing. And I was like, wait a minute. No. The A11 thing, you have 3 linemen, but you have people right behind them. So you can throw the screen, and sometimes you back up and you throw a double pass. But, and this is a lot of it's, playing NCAA, right? There's there's plays in the video game that you can run out of this formation. There's not very many of them. But I was thinking about it, I was like, none of those had a play where you throw the ball over the middle of the field because there's nobody there.
Yeah, you go all outside.
Yeah, you go outside, so you have a blocker, but you didn't have, like, after watching the play again, it's like the 3 at the top, none of them moved. So there's one eligible guy out there, and he just kind of turns and stands and looks.
Yeah, he was just looking.
And then the other 3, I was like, okay, so if they are on the line, which you're saying they probably weren't on the line, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they were all on the line, but all of them go downfield. And I was like, either they're not on the line and it's a legal formation, or they are all on the line and we have an illegal man downfield. But it seemed like a one-man route. It was like, all right, we're throwing to Turpin, and we're just going to run him right in the middle, and we're just going to hope that these professional athletes aren't going to break on a ball, and they're just going to, like, bail, I guess.
Yeah, okay, so you're basically what you're getting into is that maybe they thought because they had 4 on one side, 5 on the other, that they would be evenly, they would put 4 on one side, 5 on the other, and the middle of the field would be wide open.
But that didn't happen. So, like,
truly, that's why I'm saying why wouldn't Dak look out there and go, okay, well, there's people in the middle of the field. This can't work. CD Lamb is out left by himself with 2 or 3 linemen. At least throw it to him.
Yeah, but he didn't run a route though.
Start running around.
He didn't turn and look for the ball though. He just mows it off somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a bad way to go out in the finisher.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 times. Okay, so here we go. I don't know whose fault this is. I don't know if this is Kellen Moore's fault or this is Mike McCarthy's fault, but like 2 times at the end of the game versus 49ers in the playoffs, and like both of those plays leave real bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's got to get fixed.
Well, at least he said last year that they actually worked on it. They just didn't execute it right. This one, I don't know what really happened because surely you just didn't draw that up on the sideline. That had to be in your bag of tricks for a while, just in case.
It'd have been a great 2-point play.
No. Well, I guess he caught the ball. So
yeah, he caught the ball more than 2 yards down the field.
Okay.
What I was trying to show you though was I got a message in the Discord when the game was going on, and the message said 2 bad plays by Schultz ! And I responded $11 million was my response to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Good one. All right, so let's get off of it for a little bit. Let's I want to bring up my man up here. Come on up here, John. We need to talk a little bit of Colorado and what's going on with Deion Sanders and these Buffaloes. He did a lot of research, got a lot of good talking points up here. I'm turning the screen a little bit.
JT, you see my jersey.
What you think on? You can leave one of your ears off so you can hear because it's really just the mic that you need to be.
Yeah. So can we start a tackling fund for Trayvon Diggs? Because that dude makes a lot of business decisions.
He's not going to tackle. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this, John. Give us a little bit of update what's going on with primetime in Colorado right now.
All right. So,
Oh, hold on. All right. How about now?
am I good?
We can hear you, but I don't know if that mic's actually working.
Can y'all hear me, JT?
Oh, there it is.
All right. So they are up to number 21 in the overall class rankings. And
Is that 2022 or 2023?
2020 for this class, 2023 class is the current one being signed now.
Oh, okay. I was looking at 24/7 Sports to try to find but keep going.
Yeah, they're 21. They're number one in transfer class.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they easily can get in the top 15 if the tight end out of South Carolina, Harbor, commits to them, as people think he will go away from South Carolina.
Do you want to give an update on how many commits they have in this class? Because it's ridiculous.
That would be a big one.
It's like 42, 43. It's a lot.
The whole team.
This weekend's the last weekend players can visit for class of 2023. And they have 2 offensive linemen coming in and 2 4-star wide receivers already signed are going to be there to try to get these 2 offensive linemen on board. And what I didn't know is their defensive end coach, Nick Williams, is credited as, really the one putting this class together. Mysteriously, he was at A&M last year and put together Jimbo's class. So
you're saying that this class might fall apart like the last one?
It could. And the last nugget I saw was Sammy Watkins' cousin, Winston Watkins Jr., is a 5-star who's committed to the Buffs. He's class of 2025. Now, 2 things. One, I didn't realize we give stars to kids their freshman year in high school. And number 2, this kid is currently like 5'10", 175 pounds. The average 14-year-old will grow another 3 inches. So this kid could be a 6'1", 6'2", 210-pound wide receiver. But he's already committed to Colorado.
And rich.
And from some stuff looking at, may or may not have an NIL deal already.
Well, I mean, a lot can change in 2 years. So,
oh yeah.
So let me rehash my hot take real quick, especially when it comes to Winston Watkins Jr. My hot take, which I still have to stand by, is by the time that he rolls around and is ready to act, is eligible to sign for Colorado, Deion will not be the head coach at Colorado.
Agree.
Yeah. That's true. But I'm gonna be on them good. But anyway, okay. Well, we appreciate that, and I'm hoping that it's just gonna be fun to watch and see how they progress and do. Now, I think John says he's predicting that they could win 7 games this year.
I see 7 games bowl eligible. Looking at the schedule, the Pac-12 is kind of a dumpster fire.
Well, and then maybe competing for a title here pretty soon, Pac-12 title. So I don't know. We'll see how they do it. I just hope it's not like what he said. When he told me that, I was like, I'm sure hope this doesn't turn into a Jimbo Fisher kind of thing where it just goes down south and can't move the ball or something. I don't know. And maybe they can out-athlete people. But I would think that those teams are too good to get out-athleted. You're going to have to out-coach some people at some point.
So you're saying 7, John? I just looked up the schedule.
6 or 7.
Okay, I'm seeing
Most people
6.
3 or 4.
I think they could.
I think there
surprise.
are 6 winnable. I think there are 6 winnable games on this schedule, and 7 is tough. I think 7's tough.
Well, let's still get them bowl eligible.
Yeah, I think they will be eligible for a bowl. I mean, I really think it kind of just comes down to whether or not you think they can beat TCU next year at TCU. I don't think they can. I think they have the talent to, but just that first game, I think that's asking a lot. I think they can beat Nebraska and Colorado State. I don't think they can beat Oregon and USC. I think they can beat Arizona State and Stanford. I don't think they can beat UCLA and Oregon State, and I think they can beat Arizona and Washington State, and that's 6. So basically, I have them. He's
probably picking UCLA too, though.
No, my thought is Nebraska, Colorado State, Arizona State, Stanford, Arizona, Washington State, and then I think they're going to, whether it's UCLA, Oregon State, I think they may
You think they win one of those?
someone at the right time and win one of those. I don't think they have much of a chance against TCU, USC,
Oregon,
Utah, but I think, they could get someone at the right time.
Okay.
Seems like UCLA with Chip Kelly loses a game they shouldn't.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. So what are y'all thinking is going on with Bama now? I'm going to switch the schedule.
Yeah, since we are now officially coordinatorless.
Yes. So,
I'm going to make
a lot of rumors out there. What are the rumors going on with who we're looking at?
I've heard that, as John has been telling me for a little bit, that Jeremy Pruitt has been cleared by the SEC for whatever that's worth. I guess Ryan Fowler from Tide 100.9 was also saying that he was hearing that. So apparently there's a lot of smoke around that about Jeremy Pruitt making his way back to Tuscaloosa.
I did not
money back.
hear it myself, but somebody, and I'm trying to pull the text up to make sure I get this correct. Apparently, Greg McElroy was on air today saying that he is hearing it will be Jeff Levy as offensive coordinator and Jeremy Pruitt as defensive coordinator. But hey, JT, we get Art Briles. I mean, it's just
no. That is exactly the reason why I do not want Jeff Lebby on the staff. Like, what transpired at Baylor is unforgivable, and the fact that Kendall Briles is at TCU is an atrocity to me, and Jeff Lebby to me is no better. That is not I think it's a bad PR move.
Gotta have some standards to what you're saying.
Yes.
Gotta have some standards.
I don't care if he helps you win football games. Like, you can't be defenders of what happened at Baylor.
No, you can't be, but are you willing to take Pruitt, who,
to be on record,
passes out cash in McDonald's or Chick-fil-A bags?
That's why
when you had NIL, I mean, just say it was from McDonald's. They're the NIL deal.
Since it was in the McDonald's bag.
Well, yeah. I'm on record too saying that I don't think Jeremy Pruitt is somebody that you should be going after right now. I mean, I think you should wait to at least figure out what the NCAA is going to do about it. I think that's going to take forever because NCAA moves slower than the government. But
yeah, but what's the time frame on this? I mean, signing day is coming up in a week. No, you don't think these guys want to know who they're going to be playing for, what they're going to be running, or don't really care? We're
With-
Bama, and
You
they're
know,
going to come because we're Bama and it's Nick Saban, and not.
I think with our big junior day class coming in this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if you potentially heard something before Saturday.
Oh, okay.
All right, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Well, I mean, I think it's been good. I think it's
Yeah.
been good.
Is there anybody on either coordinator side? Well, I guess we've talked about who we might like for defensive coordinator, but is anybody on the offensive coordinator side that you're like, hey, I think this would be interesting. We should take a look at this guy if you were in Saban's
No.
shoes.
I think
Not
without
me.
the Levy issues, I kind of like Brian Johnson, the Eagles quarterback coach.
I saw that
who
name floated today.
Was quarterback at Utah when they beat us in the Sugar Bowl in the game we didn't want to be at back in 08. But he's done wonders with Jalen. And I saw this argument on a message board that someone saying Johnson's done wonders with Jalen is insulting to Jalen, saying he hasn't worked hard at his game. And I think Jalen's worked hard at his game, but I think Brian Rogers has helped him as his coach bring him to the next level.
That's right. The offense has even been adjusted
Yeah.
a little bit. That's what we haven't done with Dak. But anyway, I digress because they need to adjust a little bit for my man as well.
Hey, so here's an idea. This is not in the realm of feasibility at all. But if you had the stones to do so, I think you could call up Eric Bieniemy and be like, "Hey, if you really want a head coaching job somewhere, if you just come work with Saban for a year, you could probably actually land a head coaching job. Look at Brian Dable, and then you just get Eric Bieniemy for a year."
Oh, wow. Okay. I hear you, but since you brought that up, how many job interviews will Eric Bieniemy have this year? I'm saying that with a little bit of sarcasm again because of the Rooney
Right.
rule that he's going to be
None.
the one minority that they all. He's already been on one, hasn't he?
Oh, really? All right, then 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna say not many because they have a new guy who they can interview and say that it's serious.
Which is who?
D'Amico Ryans,
Oh yeah, D'Amico Ryans is the new guy.
which
That's right.
I think he would be fantastic. I think he'd be pretty good, but I don't get to make those decisions. So he'll make
Just
his
don't go to
rounds.
Houston.
And
They keep talking about D'Amico to Houston.
That's it. Just don't go to Houston.
yeah, I mean,
Coach
they
career
ran
be
Lovey
over.
out real quick. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they hired Lovey just to say they hired a black guy so that they don't have to do that no more.
Well, that sounds like that's what the Commanders need to do. Or hire the first female coach up there or something as a head coach. All right, man. We're going to get out of here because I got to get back to CJ and help him celebrate his birthday a little bit
Happy birthday, dog.
before we get out here. We'll update on the Bama game real fast. Since you're looking at the scores, are we winning?
Yeah. No, we're still losing to Mississippi State, 38-33.
Oh,
I gotta bring this up real quick, see if it's got any better. The first half was an absolute ridiculousness. We're 3 for 16 from the 3-point line tonight,
well, you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
and we are definitely doing that tonight. And we can't make layups tonight either. And we have turned the ball over more than we have recently.
Well, look, Drake beat Mississippi State. Alabama can't lose to Mississippi State. That's unacceptable.
Well, it's 41-33, and real quick before we get out, JT. Tomorrow night, Tide in Texas is having an event at Goodbye Horses on SMU Boulevard. We'll have our new polo shirts for sale, and the shirt shop in Tuscaloosa is our partner in these. and they're going to be out there with us, coming in from Alabama, flying in tomorrow afternoon. And we'll have sale prices. And anybody that comes out, go to our website, tiedintexas.com to register, and we'll buy you 2 drinks to come out. You don't have to buy a shirt, although you are welcome to buy a shirt. 10% of all sales get donated back to our scholarship fund from the shirt shop.
He tried to do that with me too, JT. I hope everyone goes and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I know that fundraising tactic.
Yep.
Let me get you a couple of drinks real fast.
And then he'll be selling you a whole lot more
and-
than some shirts.
And last, I will say, you guys have a huge fan in Steve Wyatt, whose wife, Mandy, was the NAA president in 2020 and 2021. And I was texting with her today, and she mentioned that Steve loves George's podcast. And I said, he probably likes it when this good-looking debonair
Oh my
guy is
God.
a guest.
Yeah, now he's never going to watch it again.
Now he's probably, yeah. And Mandy said he probably just forgot to mention that part.
Guy stinks.
But Steve, I know George thanks you for watching. And we all appreciate everybody from Tied in Texas that does too.
Yep. All right, y'all. Let's get out of here.
And we're almost at 500 subscribers. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Subscribe.
We appreciate that. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Send everyone over. Don't try to keep it a secret. Share it.
Yeah.
Let everybody know. Hit that bell so you know what's going on. Because we're going to talk some more, probably some offshoot type of shows here for the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So just stay tuned on what's going on. We do appreciate it. Thank you to the Lantern for always hosting and allowing us to come out and have a good time and be around these great people. A lot of people out here shooting pool today. CJ don't look like he trying to shoot pool, but that left-handed, you need a left-handed pool stick, right?
Oh my God.
They got right hand, left hand. You got the wrong pool stick, bro. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We appreciate everything that you guys do. Cowboys are down for a little while, but we're gonna be back. Alabama's gonna be back. It is what it is. All right, so JT, deuces, man. Let's be out.